Hi friends, Allison here, back again to share with you a new scrapbooking layout. This layout is another Cricut designed page, as well as I used my Cricut to cut it as well. I also used my paper tearing tool in this layout as well. I discovered an image in my Cricut image library that is mountains. That is what it's supposed to be, but it looks to me like torn paper. And so rather than cutting the paper with my Cricut to use as a torn paper edge, I'm just using my paper tearing tool. I've had it in my stash forever and I don't utilize it enough. And I thought that I would use it today. So I tore strips of different pattern papers and cardstock. The gray pattern paper that is at the top of the pile right now is, I believe, Doodlebug. And then the rest is cardstock. So I also wanted to create this layout, some mixed media in this layout. So I marked with a pencil where the torn papers ended. And I'm adding gesso to the background, and then I'll be using the packaging technique to add some pink to the background. I'm just using my heat tool to speed up the drying process so that I don't have to sit around and wait for it to dry naturally on its own. It's just speeding up the process. I skipped over the watercoloring part because you see me do that quite often, so I skipped it this time. But I am adding some splatters. I thought I would leave that in. And once the splatters are done, I'm just going to take a paper towel to blot up the excess ink, and then I'll continue on with my layout. So you just caught a brief little glimpse of the paper towel drying. And now that that is done, I can add my torn papers to the top and the bottom of my layout. I have a bunch of photos that I'm going to be scrapbooking today. They're all printed at 2 by 2 inches, so they're small pictures, and they are all selfies. I recently have been converted, I guess I would say, to using filter apps like Snapchat, and I've also discovered recently that Instagram has filters as well. My kids turned me onto this and begged for me to let them play with it. And then once I did, not long after that, they asked if I would download Snapchat, which I did. This old lady is getting with the times. And I have to admit, I had fun playing with the filters. And I do every once in a while when I'm bored, just pop on and play with the filters, see what there is, and just have fun with it. So that's what this layout is about. I am definitely not a social media platform app filter using person other than Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, of course, but all these other ones like Twitter and Snapchat and Twitch and I don't know, whatever else there is out there, I just kind of leave alone. But as far as Snapchat goes, I do play with the filters once in a while. That's about as far as it goes. So I had to document this story because I had so much fun playing with those filters. So I'm adding some die cut stars to my layout. You'll notice that I did add hand stitching here and there. So the stars have, the big ones at least, have stitching on them. And then I just hand stitched the very top layer of the torn papers as well in a tone-on-tone color scheme. On the large star that's near the top photos, I added a camera as well because it just seemed appropriate to put that there. There's a little star covering the lens of the camera just to denote the flash sort of thing. And my title is going to go next to it. So the title is Die Cut with my Cricut as well. It's going to say New Discovery because for me, Snapchat is totally a new discovery and a new thing to play with. I'm just using my Tombow Mono liquid glue to adhere the title to the layout. I am going to add journaling. It's going to go underneath the title, but first I'm going to finish adding the rest of my star embellishments. Oh, and there's going to be a tiny little gray star adhered over the eye. I'm going to take the little foam square that I put to the back of it and put it underneath the word new, and then plunk the star on top of that just so that the foam square doesn't show from underneath it. So now I'm adding the rest of my star embellishments, and I'm using foam squares to adhere those as well. I like to adhere my foam squares over the washi tape that I put on the back of my elements that I've hand stitched, just to ensure that the washi tape doesn't go anywhere. I'm always afraid that it's going to come undone sometime in the future. So if I'm not using foam squares to sort of tack it in place, I will use my liquid glue instead. I'm adding a little phrase to the star at the bottom of the layout that says "Say cheese," which is also fitting for this theme, in my opinion. And I have this little tab that I cut. I want to add the date to it, but I kind of struggle with where I want to put the tab. I end up leaving it where I had it originally on the left-hand side of that photo right there. I do actually end up stapling it to the photo as well, just to keep it in place. I have some little stars that I'm going to sprinkle around the page as well, these little dark pink ones. And with that, this layout is complete. Of course, besides the journaling. I don't know if I added that already or if that's still coming. I cut most of it out because my big old head was in the way and made the camera bounce around a lot. So here's the date. And like I said, once that's adhered, I'm pretty well done. I do have close-ups coming up, so make sure you stick around for that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate every comment, every like, every follow as well. Welcome to my new followers. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new to my channel and you haven't followed yet, make sure you do hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. I have something special planned for when I reach the 250 subscriber milestone, and I'm getting so close. So make sure you stick around for that because you're not going to want to miss it. I will be back again soon with more creative inspiration later on this week. Have a fantastic day, have a great week, and I'll be back again soon. Bye, friends.